We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about that for a second. The people who walked away, the ones who ghosted, betrayed, or left you wondering what went wrong, you could spend hours, days, even years asking why, replaying the conversations, overanalyzing every detail, searching for closure that may never come. But my friends, what if I told you that their departure is not your loss, but your great win? That's right. They thought they were leaving you behind, but in reality they just set you free. If this message hits you, don't keep it to yourself. Take charge, hit that like button, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because trust me, there are people out there stuck in the same cycle, waiting for something to shake them awake. Be the one to help them see the truth. Every like, every comment, every share pushes this message further to someone sitting in the dark, overthinking, feeling like they're not enough. But they are. You are. So let's spread this. Let's make sure no one stays stuck in a story they were meant to outgrow. You're not just watching this, you're stepping into something bigger, and it starts right now. Now let's be real for a second. When someone leaves, it can feel like a part of you is ripped away, like they took something you can't get back. That's the lie your mind tells you. But here's the truth. You were whole before them, and you are still whole without them. Their exit is not the end of you. It's the beginning of something powerful. Because the real win is not getting them back. It's becoming someone they never expected. That's exactly what we're diving into today. How to flip the script, reclaim your power, and rise higher than ever before. Stick with me, because by the time we're done, you're going to see this situation for what it really is. A chance to level up in ways they never imagined. Let's talk about the real enemy here. It's not them. It's not the breakup, the rejection, or the abandonment. It's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being forgotten. Fear that you weren't enough. But let me hit you with this. Fear is a liar. It whispers you need them to be happy. It tells you if they left, it must mean something is wrong with you. It tricks you into believing if you let go, you lose. But here's the Stoic truth. You don't lose by letting go. You lose by holding on to what no longer serves you. Imagine this. You're in a burning building, but instead of running to safety, you're clinging to the furniture, begging the flames to stop. That's what holding on to someone who's already gone looks like. It's burning you alive, and it's time to step out of the fire. Let's flip this pain into power, because here's the reality. When they walked away, they created space. Space for you to grow, space for you to evolve, space for you to finally see your own worth. And make no mistake, they will notice. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually they will see what they lost. And by then, you won't even care, because you'll be too busy thriving, too busy building, too busy becoming the person you were always meant to be. And that's the real win, not revenge, not proving anything to them, but proving to yourself that you were never dependent on them in the first place. Here's what I want you to do right now. Go and throw it out in the comments. Write it, declare it, stamp it into existence. I win by growing, not chasing. Because this isn't just a sentence, it's a shift. It's a decision. It's you standing up and saying, I refuse to shrink. I refuse to beg. I refuse to stay stuck. Show them that you know the truth. Show them that you're not the same person they left behind. Show them that their absence didn't break you. It built you. Show the universe that you're done looking back, that your energy, your time, your power is no longer up for grabs. And most importantly, show yourself, because this is where everything changes. Not when they notice, not when they come back, not when they regret, but when you decide to rise. So don't just read this. Write it right now. I win by growing, not chasing. Lock it in, make it real, make it yours. Say it out loud. Feel the weight of those words. Every time you feel the pull to look back, every time the pain creeps in, Remind yourself, growth is my revenge, peace is my victory, letting go is my power. And trust me, my friends, they will be confused. They will expect you to fall apart, to beg, to wait for them. But when they realize you've stopped looking back, that's the moment they truly feel your absence. But by then, you'll be too far ahead to care. This is just the beginning. Now that you understand that their departure is your freedom, it's time to take action. In the next section, we're going to break down exactly how to flip the script, master detachment, and turn this pain into the greatest comeback of your life. So stay with me, because the best way to win is to become unstoppable. Let's go. Number 1, the emotional impact. Acknowledge the pain, then reframe it. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. It stings. Let's not pretend it doesn't. When someone leaves, when they walk away without warning, without explanation, without looking back, it feels like they've ripped a page out of your story. And there you are, scrambling, trying to make sense of the missing words, trying to figure out why they did what they did. And the worst part? The silence, the unanswered questions, the endless thoughts spinning in your mind at 2 a.m., wondering, was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Were they ever who I thought they were? That pain, that emptiness, it's real, it's raw, and it's tempting. Oh, so tempting to chase after them, to seek answers, to demand closure, to do anything just to fill the void they left behind. Because that's what we're taught, right? That when someone leaves, we have to fight for them, that love means holding on even when our hands are bleeding, that if we just say the right words, do the right things, prove our worth, they'll come back. But let me break that illusion for you right now. Chasing them won't bring peace. Seeking answers won't heal you. Their validation will never be the key to your worth. Because the truth is, this isn't about them. It never was. It's about you and what you choose to do next. So let's talk about that, because you're at a crossroads, my friends. One path leads to an endless cycle of pain, regret, and self-doubt. The other leads to freedom, strength, a version of yourself that no longer clings to people who don't see your value. And today, you're going to take that second path. Let's get one thing straight. Closure is a myth. We convince ourselves that we need it, that if we could just hear them explain why they left, why they changed, why they gave up on us, we'd finally feel at peace. But let me ask you this. If they knocked on your door today and told you exactly what you wanted to hear, would it really take the pain away? Would it erase the memories? Would it undo the way they made you feel? No, because closure isn't something they can give you. It's something you give yourself. The truth is, they made their choice. Now, it's time for you to make yours. You can either keep replaying the past, or you can reclaim your future. You can keep holding on to someone who let go of you, or you can grab onto the only thing that truly matters, yourself. And yes, that's hard, because right now, it feels like losing them means losing a part of yourself. But what if this isn't about loss at all? What if this is about space? Space for you to become someone greater. I get it. The idea of letting go feels terrifying, because deep down, there's that whisper. What if they were the best thing that ever happened to me? What if I never find something like that again? What if I let go and they move on while I'm still stuck? That fear, that's what's keeping you trapped. It makes you believe that their absence is proof of your unworthiness. It tricks you into thinking that if you let go, you'll be left with nothing. But that's a lie. Because the truth is, you had a life before them, and you will have a life after them. Their presence never defined you. Their leaving doesn't break you, and their silence doesn't get to dictate your story. I won't sugarcoat this. Walking away, choosing yourself over the pain, over the questions, over the need to fix what's broken, isn't easy. Your mind will try to pull you back. You'll feel the urge to reach out, to check their social media, to wonder if they ever think about you. But let me ask you something. What's waiting for you on the other side of that? More confusion, more pain, more of the same cycle that has already drained you? You deserve more than that. You deserve peace. And peace doesn't come from chasing people who don't choose you. Peace comes from choosing yourself. Something happens when you stop looking back, when you stop waiting for them to realize your worth, when you stop hoping they'll return, when you stop making excuses for their absence. You shift. You go from being someone who feels abandoned to someone who is unshaken. You stop begging for love, and you start becoming someone who attracts it effortlessly. Because here's the secret. They expect you to wait, to stay stuck, to break down. But when they look back and see that you've moved on, that you've risen instead of fallen, that you've become someone even stronger in their absence, that's when they feel the loss. But by then, it won't even matter to you, because you'll be too busy thriving, too busy living, too busy creating the life you were always meant to have. Right now, I want you to make a declaration, not to them, not to the world, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. I choose to rise. Say it out loud. Let it sink into your bones, because today you take your power back, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. And trust me, they will notice. The world will notice. But most importantly, you will notice. You will see the shift. You will feel the strength. And one day, sooner than you think, you'll look back and realize this wasn't a loss at all. This was the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And what's coming next? That's where the real magic happens. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about exactly how to flip the script and master the art of detachment. You don't win by chasing, you win by rising. Let's go. Number 2, the trap of chasing. Why reacting gives them power. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. There's a moment after they leave, after the silence settles in, when the urge to chase creeps in like a shadow. The mind starts spinning. Maybe if I just explain, maybe if they understood how much this hurt me, maybe if I show them how much I care, they'll come back. That's the trap. The moment you start chasing, you hand over your power, and that's exactly what they expect. They expect the messages, the late night, I just need closure texts, the emotional outbursts, the social media stalking. They expect you to fall apart. They expect you to run toward them while they stand still, completely in control. And if you do, they win, not because they deserve to, not because they're better than you, but because you gave them something they never even asked for, control over your emotions. That's the illusion of chasing. It feels like action. It feels like fighting for what you want. But in reality, it's handing over the keys to your peace and saying, here you drive. They don't have to wonder how you feel. They don't have to question whether they had an impact. Your reaction gives them all the confirmation they need. And if they do respond, it's rarely what you hope for. You might get an answer, but it won't bring peace. You might get an apology, but it won't erase the past. You might get a second chance, but it won't change who they are. Because here's the truth. When someone leaves, when someone chooses to walk away, it's not your job to make them stay. It's your job to walk away with your dignity intact. Think of it like this. You're in a burning house. The flames are rising, the walls are collapsing, and instead of running for safety, you're standing there trying to convince the fire to go out. That's what chasing looks like, begging for explanations, holding on to hope, refusing to accept the reality in front of you. The fire doesn't care about your reasons. It doesn't care how much you love the house. it's going to burn anyway. So why are you standing in the middle of it, inhaling the smoke, when you could be running toward freedom? You don't put out a fire by talking to it. You don't save yourself by staying in the wreckage. You walk away. And yes, that's hard. It's hard to turn your back when every fiber of your being wants to fight for what was. It's hard to let go when your heart is still waiting for a miracle. But what's harder? Staying in that fire and letting it consume you. What most people don't realize is that silence is power. Not responding is power. Not reacting is power. It's not weakness. It's not giving up. It's not indifference. It's control. Because when you don't chase, you do something that shakes them to their core. You become unpredictable. They were expecting a reaction. They were expecting emotion. But when you give them nothing, that's when they start to wonder. And here's the most powerful part. It's not even about them anymore. It's about you. The moment you stop chasing, stop reacting, stop looking for answers in places you'll never find them, you start building. You start using that energy for something better. You put it into yourself, your growth, your peace, your future. That's how you win. Not by proving your worth to someone who didn't see it the first time, but by becoming someone who no longer needs to. Right now, I want you to make a choice. Not for them, not for revenge, but for yourself. Write this in the comments. I take my power back. Say it out loud. Let it echo in your mind every time you feel the urge to reach out, every time you want to explain, every time you catch yourself waiting for something that may never come. Remind yourself, I take my power back. Because the truth is, they're not looking for a reaction. They're looking for proof that they still have a hold on you. But when they realize they don't, that's when everything shifts. And by then, you'll be too busy building, growing, rising to even notice. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about exactly how to flip the script and make your silence the loudest statement you've ever made. You don't win by chasing, you win by walking away with your power intact. Let's go. Number 3, the win. Focus on your own growth. He who is brave is free. So here you are, standing at the edge of what was, looking back at something that no longer exists. The temptation to turn around is strong, to analyze, to reminisce, to wish things had gone differently. But let me ask you something. What if instead of looking back, you turned inward? What if instead of chasing them, you chased your own growth? What if instead of waiting for a door to reopen, you realized you could build a whole new house? Because the truth is, their absence didn't leave you empty. It left you open to possibilities, open to rediscovering yourself, open to becoming someone who no longer depends on another person's presence to feel whole. The only thing that is stopping you from stepping into that power is the illusion that you've lost something essential. But what if you didn't lose anything at all? What if this was an opportunity? Look at nature. A bird doesn't grieve the branch that breaks beneath it. It doesn't sit there mourning the loss, wondering why the branch couldn't hold it forever. It just spreads its wings and flies, and that's exactly what you're going to do. Because here's something no one tells you. Growth isn't a side effect of loss. It's the reward. When they left, they made a choice, but now you get to make yours. You get to decide whether you're going to stand in the ruins of what was, or whether you're going to rise from it. You get to decide whether this moment is going to break you, or whether it's going to build you into something stronger than ever before. And yes, that takes courage, because growth is hard. It requires stepping into the unknown. It requires facing yourself without distractions, without excuses, without the comfort of another person to lean on. But he who is brave is free, so be brave enough to stop looking for answers in the past. Be brave enough to ask yourself, what can I create now that they're gone? Because that's where the real transformation happens. The moment you take all of that energy, the overthinking, the heartache, the longing, and you redirect it into yourself, everything changes. Instead of mourning the door that closed, you start noticing the ones that are opening. Instead of feeling like something was taken from you, you realize that you were given something priceless: your time, your energy, your focus back. You start pouring into yourself in ways you never did before. You build habits that make you stronger. You reconnect with passions you neglected. You create a life so full, so rich, so powerful that by the time they look back, if they ever do, you're no longer someone they recognize because you've outgrown the version of you that needed them. And that's the real win. Not revenge, not proving anything to them, but becoming someone so deeply at peace with themselves that the past feels like another lifetime. Right now, I want you to make a declaration, not to them, not to the world, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. I am building my future. Say it out loud. Feel the truth of it settle in your bones. Every time you feel the pull to look back, every time you catch yourself wondering, what if? Remind yourself, I am building my future. Because the past is gone. That chapter is written, and it's time for a new one. And trust me, this next chapter is going to be the best one yet. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about how mastering detachment doesn't just bring peace. It makes you untouchable. You don't win by looking back. You win by moving forward. Number 4. How to flip the script. The power of detachment. We should not moor a ship with one anchor or our life with one hope. They expect you to break, to lose yourself in the wreckage, to sit in the dark, waiting for them to come back. That's the script they've written for you, the one where you fall apart while they move on, where your world shrinks while theirs expands. But today, you're flipping that script, because you don't break, you don't beg, and you don't wait for someone who chose to walk away. You rise, you rebuild, and in doing so, you confuse them in a way they never saw coming. There is no move more powerful, no shift more unexpected than detachment. Not coldness, not indifference, but absolute unwavering detachment. The kind that says, I accept what happened, but it doesn't define me. The kind that looks at their absence and doesn't chase, doesn't question, just turns inward and builds something stronger. Because here's what they don't realize. You're not just letting go of them, you're letting go of the part of you that needed them, and that's the real victory. So how do you do it? How do you master detachment in a way that not only sets you free, but shifts the entire dynamic? It starts with a single decision. Accept the loss without resistance. It happened. Now what's next? Most people get stuck here. They resist. They replay, they hold on to what-ifs like a lifeline. But the moment you accept that this is your reality, that nothing you do will change the past, you take back control. Because here's the truth, acceptance is the doorway to power. When you stop wishing things were different, you make space for something new. You stop holding on to a closed door and start noticing the ones that are opening. You shift from asking, why did this happen to me, to how do I grow from this? And that shift, that's where you start becoming untouchable. Once you accept, you redirect. You take every ounce of energy you would have wasted on them, on overthinking, on waiting, on hoping, and you pour it into yourself. You sharpen your mind, you strengthen your body, you master your emotions. Because the real power move isn't in getting them back. It's in becoming someone they no longer have access to. They expect reaction. They expect emotion. They expect to see that they still hold a place in your life. But when you give them nothing, that's when they start to wonder. And that's the beauty of detachment. Your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. You don't send paragraphs explaining your worth. You don't try to make them see what they lost. You don't even acknowledge their absence because you are too busy living. And trust me, nothing unsettles someone more than realizing they no longer have the power to affect you. When a king loses a pawn, he doesn't weep, he strategizes. That's you now, not looking at what's missing, but focusing on the next move, on building, on becoming. Right now, I want you to declare something, not to them, not to the world, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. I release what no longer serves me. Say it out loud, feel it, let it sink in. Because today, you shift the power back to where it belongs. And what comes next? That's the part they'll never see coming. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about how true detachment doesn't just set you free, it makes you magnetic. You don't win by holding on, you win by letting go. Number 5, the moment they notice and why it won't matter anymore. A lion does not concern himself with the opinion of sheep. There will come a moment, maybe weeks from now, maybe months, when they finally notice. They'll look around and realize the energy they once took for granted is gone. The messages they expected, silent. The reactions they counted on, nowhere to be found. The version of you that once sought their validation doesn't exist anymore. And that's when it happens. It starts as a whisper in their mind, a fleeting thought. Why aren't they reaching out? Why don't they care? They scroll through their phone, wondering if they missed a message. They check your social media, expecting to see sadness, longing, a sign that you're still waiting. But what do they find? Nothing. And that silence, that absence, it shakes them because they expected you to chase. They expected you to hold on, to question, to beg, to prove your worth. But when you don't, it forces them to ask the one question they never thought they'd have to. Did I lose them? And the answer? Yes. But here's the beautiful part. By the time they realize it, you won't even care. Because you won't be waiting, you won't be wondering, you won't be looking back. You'll be too far ahead, thriving in a reality they no longer have access to. See, people don't notice what they have when it's right in front of them. They notice when it's gone. They don't appreciate the light until they're standing in the dark. They don't value your consistency until they're met with silence. And when they finally turn around, expecting to find you still there, still waiting, still hoping, they're met with emptiness because you moved on. You built yourself. You grew into someone they can no longer reach. They will try to test the waters, a like on your post, a random, "Hey, how have you been?" message, a breadcrumb to see if the old version of you is still there, still waiting to be fed with the smallest sign of attention. But you won't bite. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but because that version of you is gone, the you that needed their approval, gone. The you that felt like their absence was a loss, gone. The you that placed your worth in their hands, gone. Because by the time they realize your value, you will have already discovered it for yourself. By the time they come back, you will have outgrown the need for their presence. By the time they reach out, you will be too busy living the life they once doubted you could have without them. And that is the real power move. Not revenge, not proving them wrong, not making them regret their choices, just rising so high that their absence no longer matters. Because here's the truth, people return when they feel your absence. But by the time they do, you'll have built a life where their presence is irrelevant. That's the moment everything shifts. That's when you realize that what once felt like a devastating loss was actually your greatest gain. Right now, I want you to make a promise, not to them, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. I am too busy growing to look back. Say it out loud. Let it sink in. Let it become your truth. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer waiting. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer looking back. You are moving forward, rising higher. becoming someone even you never saw coming. And when they finally notice, it won't even matter. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about how mastering your energy not only sets you free, but makes you unstoppable. You don't win by proving them wrong. You win by becoming untouchable. Number 6. Your energy is a privilege, not a right. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. They thought your energy was free, that no matter how they treated you, no matter how many times they left and returned, no matter how many mixed signals they sent, you would always be there. They got comfortable. They believed your kindness was endless. They assumed your patience had no limits. They took for granted that no matter how much they neglected, ignored, or undervalued you, you would still pick up the phone, still answer the message, still be ready to give them more of yourself. But they were wrong, because today, you wake up. You reclaim what was always yours. Your energy is not free, it is a privilege. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone gets to sit at your table. Your attention, earned. Your love, earned. Your time, earned. And if they couldn't value those things when they had them, they don't get a second chance to drain them. See, most people don't realize what they had until it's gone. They don't appreciate light until they're left in darkness. And that's exactly what's happening now. They feel the shift. They sense the distance. And it confuses them because you are always available, always understanding, always willing to go the extra mile. But now you are unavailable to those who failed to appreciate your presence. That doesn't mean you're bitter. That doesn't mean you hold resentment. It just means you've leveled up. Because when you truly recognize your worth, you stop handing it over to people who don't respect it. You stop justifying why you deserve better. You stop begging people to meet you at your level. You stop lowering your standards just to keep someone in your life. And that's when they panic. Not because they love you, not because they suddenly see your value, but because they realize the one thing they had control over, the one thing they could count on, was your energy. And now they don't have access to it anymore. They tried to test the waters. A random, "Hey, hope you're doing well" text, a like on your post, a memory sent your way, as if that erases their absence. They want to see if you'll respond, if the old version of you, the one who was always eager, always forgiving, always available, still exists. But what they don't realize is that you've changed. You no longer hand out your energy to people who drain you. You no longer answer calls that only come when they need something. You no longer make space for those who once treated you like an afterthought. Because your energy, it's sacred, and from now on, it's reserved for those who earn it. So when they look for the old you, when they expect the same response, when they assume you'll always be there, they'll find nothing but silence. Not out of spite, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Because you are no longer interested in proving your worth to people who never saw it in the first place. Right now, I want you to make a declaration, not to them, not to the world, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. My energy is earned, not given. Say it out loud. Feel it in your bones. Let it be your new foundation. Because from this moment forward, you do not give yourself away freely. You are not an unlimited resource. You are not a lifeline for those who abandoned you. You are not a home for people who never learned to stay. And when they finally realize that, it will be too late. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about the powerful shift. How stepping into your power means taking control of your own story. You don't win by being available. You win by becoming selective. Let's go. Number 7. You are no longer a supporting character in their story. A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions. For too long you made them the main character, their needs, their emotions, their validation. It all came first. You shaped yourself around them, bent over backward to fit into their life, adjusted your energy to match theirs. You made their happiness a priority, sometimes at the cost of your own. You gave them the lead role while you stood in the background, waiting for attention, waiting for appreciation, waiting to be chosen. But today, that story ends. Because you are no longer a supporting character in someone else's life. You are the main character in your own. No more waiting for their approval. No more adjusting your light to make them comfortable. No more standing still while they dictate the direction of your life. Because here's the truth. People will keep you small for as long as you let them. They will let you orbit around them while they move freely. They will take what you give, knowing you will always be there. They will keep you in their life, but only in a way that benefits them. And the longer you stay in that role, the more you start to forget that you were never meant to be an extra in someone else's movie. You were meant to lead. So today, you take back the pen. You stop being the one who waits and start being the one who decides. No more chasing, no more hoping they'll come back, no more looking for signs that they still care. Because their story is not your story. Your happiness is no longer dependent on their presence. Your future is no longer tied to their choices. Your peace is no longer something they have the power to disrupt. And when they finally realize that, when they see that you've stepped into your own life, that you no longer seek their validation, that you are writing a new story where they are no longer the center of your world, that's when the regret sets in. They will wonder why the dynamic shifted, why they no longer have the control they once did, why the person who once gave them everything is now giving them nothing. They might reach out, test the waters, send a message just to see if they can still affect you. But by then, it won't even matter. Because the you that they once knew, the one who played a role in their life without ever being given a lead, is gone. And in their place is someone who moves differently. Someone who no longer waits to be noticed. Someone who has reclaimed their own power. And that is when you truly win. Not by proving them wrong, not by getting revenge, not by making them regret leaving, but by stepping so fully into your own story that their absence no longer feels like a loss. Because your story was never meant to be about them. Right now, I want you to make a declaration, not to them, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. I am the author of my own story. Say it out loud. Feel the weight of those words. Because today, you take control. Today, you stop waiting for someone else to decide your worth. Today, you stop playing small, and when they finally notice, it will be too late. Stay with me, because in the final part we're going to talk about what happens when you fully embrace this power. You don't win by being a character in their story. You win by writing your own. Number 8, the challenge. Choose your victory. The best revenge is no revenge, just success, peace, and an unshakable mind. This is the moment where you stop waiting, stop wondering, stop looking back. The moment where you realize the power was never in their hands, it was always in yours. Everything we've talked about up until now has led to this, the choice. Because that's what this is, a choice. You can choose to dwell. You can choose to replay every conversation, dissect every action, chase closure that will never satisfy you. You can choose to let their absence define you, to let their choices dictate your worth. Or you can choose to grow. You can choose to take every ounce of pain, every unanswered question, every piece of energy you once poured into them, and redirect it into yourself. Because the real victory is not in proving them wrong. It's not in making them regret leaving. It's not in waiting for them to notice your worth. It's in becoming someone who doesn't need their validation to know your own. That's the moment you win, not when they come back, not when they realize what they lost, but when you realize what you gained. And that choice, that's yours to make right now. So let me ask you, Which version of you are you choosing today? The one who waits, the one who wonders, the one who gives away their peace in exchange for the possibility of being chosen again? Or the one who stands up, brushes off the past, and walks forward with unstoppable purpose? The one who doesn't just survive this loss, but uses it as fuel to become something greater. Because that's the challenge, my friends. To not just move on, but to rise. To not just heal, but to evolve. To not just stop chasing, but to start building something so powerful that when they finally look back, you are unrecognizable. And when that moment comes, you won't need closure, you won't need validation, you won't need them to see your worth, because you'll already know it. This is your moment to choose your victory. Right now, I want you to make a commitment. Not to them, not to the past, but to yourself. Write this in the comments. I win by growing, not chasing. Say it out loud. Feel the weight of those words. Let them settle deep into your mind, into your heart, into every part of you that once believed you needed to fight for someone who didn't fight for you. Because from this moment on, you are no longer chasing. You are building, you are growing, you are stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't wait to be chosen, because you have already chosen yourself. And when they finally notice, it won't even matter. Stay with me, because next, we're going to talk about what happens when you fully embrace your power, when you stop looking for external validation and start attracting everything that was meant for you. You don't win by chasing, you win by becoming. Number 9, final chapter. The rise continues. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. You're not just surviving this loss, you're using it as fuel. Because this isn't the end. This isn't where your story stops. This is the fire that forges you into something stronger, something unstoppable. Everything that happened, every moment of pain, every ounce of confusion, it wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to wake you up, to remind you of who you are, to strip away every illusion that you needed someone else to validate you, to push you into a new chapter where you are no longer waiting to be chosen because you have already chosen yourself. And that's the difference. They thought you would crumble. They thought you would chase. They thought you would sit in the wreckage waiting for them to return. But instead, you're rising. You're stepping into your own power. You're no longer looking for someone else to give you direction, because you are the one creating the path. Now, this isn't just about letting go. This is about stepping into the kind of life that makes you forget why you ever held on in the first place. And you're already doing it. Every time you choose peace over reaction, every time you focus on your own growth instead of the past, every time you remind yourself that your energy is a privilege, not a right, that's how you win. And listen to me. Your journey doesn't end here, it's just getting started. This is just the beginning of the rise, the first step towards something bigger than you ever imagined. Because when you finally stop looking back, when you stop needing closure, when you realize that you were never meant to chase anyone in the first place, you become unstoppable. And that's exactly what we're building here. So if this spoke to you, if you feel this shift happening inside you, hit that like button and subscribe. See you in the next video.